In this video, I'm just gonna kind of talk over some old gameplay while I just kind of yap about the whole Spider-Woman situation, and I'm kind of making this video for a couple of reasons. One, because naturally I have a bit of a different perspective than a lot of people do when it comes to how character balance works, and two, it's a very hot topic right now, and it's getting very good views on YouTube. So considering my upload schedule has been a bit out of whack recently, I'm going to take the opportunity to get content if I find it easy, because my life's a bit crazy right now and coming up with video ideas has been really difficult. So yeah, I'm just going to take it and I hope you guys can understand that. But if you think I'm just going to say that Spider-Woman shouldn't have ensnare, and I'm saying that because I don't like OP attackers, you're only half right, because I do think that the situation could have been handled a little differently. So I'm just gonna kind of get into it. Like, everyone knows exactly what happened already. Spider-Woman is losing her entire ensnare in the balance update, and she's not getting anything back to replace it. So what that means is she is losing the ensnare debuff, which did two things. One, it allowed her to prevent all evade, and two, it reduced ability accuracy, which is both offensive and defensive, by 30%. So the main reason for this is the fact that the ensnare was way too strong on defense. Ability accuracy, especially when it comes in the form of both offensive and defensive altogether, is so incredibly powerful because it's basically uninteractable. There's kind of nothing you can do unless you're flat out ability accuracy reduction immune to just have any confidence in any ability that you have and actually working. And that was what Spider-Woman kind of did. I've heard people say, like, she can fail the ability that you use to fail something from her. Like, in the case of Crossbones, he can use his ability accuracy reduction to fail her evade. She can fail him using that ability accuracy reduction. Like, it's just the extent of which this whole mechanic went was way too far, and she's losing that, which means that as a defender, she's going to have the threat of her special one with the fumble and the power stings going through the block and stuff, and the threat of the evade, which is still significant. It brings her in a relatively, tamer defensive stance. When she's meant to be a 3 out of 5 defender, I think she's going to feel way more like that compared to the 5 out of 5 defender that she was, feeling like, at least. I do think she was arguably a top 3 defender in the entire game, which, considering that was nowhere near what her goal is, yeah, the ensnare needed to go. And that's kind of what happened. But the main issue everyone's having is not that the ensnare is gone for defense. There's going to be some people who find that an issue, but I feel like the majority of the player base is angry because she doesn't have the ensnare for attack anymore. And I'll be real with you, I get it. I understand why you would be upset with that. Because that's an entire utility piece that she had that she's now no longer going to have. But, a couple things. The way I'm looking at this is Spider-Woman was honestly, in my opinion, the best science champion in the entire game. And currently with the kit that she has, I think she is the best science champion in the entire game. So the way I'm looking at it is, if she loses one ability, does it really feel that bad? And to me, it doesn't. Because instead of being the best science champion in the game, she still could be, and she could just arguably be a little bit lower now. Because I've heard people say, like, okay, well, with this change, I think I'd value someone like Photon over her, or someone like Defaria over her, just, other science champs who are obviously very strong. Because, yeah, I do genuinely believe she was the best science champ in the game overall before the change. And I think after the change, she's still going to be, honestly, a realistic argument for number 1 still. She is just that strong. She is completely absurd, and this change is not really changing that. She still has plenty of other utility pieces with the severe power stings, your wither, your evade when it comes to miss and unstoppable, and just the evade in general. And yeah, she just did a lot of stuff. In fact, the only BG's defenders that she's now going to be worse for, that you would like actively see, are Spider-Woman herself and Bullseye. And quite honest with you, Spider-Woman shouldn't be able to take Bullseye. So I don't really mind that at all, that she can't do that anymore. I think it's a little bit annoying that I can't use Spider-Woman against Spider-Woman now, but at the same time, yeah, I'm fine with it. It's not that big a deal to me. But, you know, obviously we can't just talk about, you know, defender mechanics. Like, obviously it means she can't take evade nodes anymore. And, like, looking at it from an Alliance War perspective, okay, just don't send her to Mixmaster anymore. Looking at her from a BG's perspective, okay, node-wise, if there's a Mixmaster node or just any other kind of evade node, she's going to be not one of the best options anymore, which I think is also fine. Looking at it from a questing scenario, there are so many Science Champs who counter evade, so many non-Science Champs who counter evade. I think she's still going to be an extremely strong champion and doesn't need to have the evade counter to be that extremely strong champion. But at the same time, you know, removing an entire ability from a champion is going to be frustrating for a lot of people, because yes, Spider-Woman's been in the game for what, almost 7 months now. I can't even think about how long she's been in the game. It's been about 6 or 7 months. So people have gotten used to her countering the evade, and just, you know, kind of ripping that away obviously doesn't feel amazing. But at the same time, I think that if she was the best Science Champ in the game, which I genuinely think she is, maybe it's not that bad that she's losing an attacker mechanic to make her, you know, a little bit closer to her fellow Science competitors. So yeah, like, there's arguments where, okay, she should have had it replaced with a Pursuit. And, you know, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like, I don't think she needed that. I don't think that she should have an evade counter with how much her kit already does. Like, there's just a point where there's just too much utility on a character that makes, you know, her take too much, and it means that other Science Champs just are less useful because of it. And I feel like, you know, maybe not to an extreme extent she was doing that, but at the same time, again, like, I really don't mind the best Science Champ in the game losing an extra ability. And, you know, the thing that I actually do really like about this change is the fact that Kabam is showing that the rebalance program actually exists. And it's probably not in the way everyone wants. People want the rebalance program to exist in nerfing defenders. That's not exactly what I want, but it's what the majority of the player base wants. But, you know, they did just prove that, yes, the rebalance program is, you know, they are capable of nerfing a character if they feel it necessary. And it just came in the form of an attacker this time. And defender, obviously. Well, probably primarily defender, honestly, because that's kind of what the main reason for this change was. Which is great. Like, you know, they were still solving part of a defender issue everyone had a problem with, right? Because, you know, defenders, people say, are coming out too fast, and now we're nerfing one, which, you know, granted, this isn't happening for another 6 months, so yeah, it's kind of stupid at that point. I think the whole we can't change this for another 6 months is honestly really dumb. But, you know, for the people who really want Spider-Woman to keep her in snare, well, you have another 6 months of it, so it's not going to be that bad. And honestly, I would not be surprised if we get another Science Champ who counters evade in those next 6 months. But, you know, I could be kind of crazy for saying that. Who knows? But, yeah, in summary, it's just like, I don't really mind the best Science Champ in the game losing one ability. I don't mind that she can't counter evade on attack anymore. I certainly don't mind that she doesn't have the ensnare for defense anymore, which was, you know, preventing evade and ability accuracy stuff. And while I think it's fair for players to want her to get a pursuit in return, I don't think y'all are unjustified in saying that. I just don't think she should have it personally. But I understand the anger. And I truly want to tell you guys that I think you have a right to be angry for this one. Especially with, in the post, it being worded, yeah, we're not going to touch her on offense, but they kind of do touch her on offense. I think the choice of wording that they used in the post was really bad. And they should have phrased a lot of this stuff in the post a little bit differently. But that's my 2 cents on it. Just me trying to share my opinions again. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video, and I hope that what I'm saying makes sense to you. I understand if you don't agree with it, and I truly do sympathize with a lot of people who wanted to have that evade counter, because I don't think Kabam handled the situation well, but at the same time, it does give me a lot of hope that the rebounds program is not completely dead, and they are not afraid to nerf champs when they feel necessary. So, yeah, this is kind of a win-loss for me. I think there's good things and bad things about this, but that's just, my thoughts on it. I don't hate this change. I don't think it was handled perfectly. It's just fine. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.